present information gathered from various sources, points and opinions supported with facts and examples, as well as research information explained at the audience level of understanding. Now, Patty has done some research on the brain in order to help you learn how to improve your life. Improve your brain, improve your life. Let's welcome up Patty as she delivers the basics of neuroplasticity.
What if you could change your life just by working on what's going on upstairs? In other words, your brain. Years ago, it was believed that the brain doesn't change at all after childhood. However, this is actually not true. Over the past decade or so, research on neuroplasticity has revealed that the brain continues to change and adapt all the way until we die. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, over the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you the basics of neuroplasticity and how it can help you to improve your life. I will start by defining what neuroplasticity is. According to Merriam-Webster, it is the capacity for continuous alteration of the neural pathways and synapses of the living brain, blah, blah, blah. To put it more simply, neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to change. And this change happens throughout your life, as I've already mentioned. It's actually happening right now, as you're learning this new information. Which leads to the question, what happens in our brains when we learn? Pictured here is an example of the neural networks within your brain. A neuron is a cell that communicates with other cells. A synapse is the junction between neurons that allows the information to pass through. When new information comes into your brain, new synapses and neurons are forming. These new neurons are sending information by firing to other neurons throughout the neural network and expanding the network within your brain. It's from these neural networks that we have what we call memories. It's kind of like this. The information superhighway of your mind. The cars moving represent the neurons passing information to other neurons, while the entrance and exits are kind of like these synapses which connect each neuron together. So now that we have a basic understanding of neuroplasticity, how can we use this information to improve our brains and our lives? You can start by first being conscious. Be conscious of your thoughts and your feelings. The neural network that we just saw represents the memories that we have. Memories can be associated with either positive or negative experiences. Unfortunately, the tendency for the human mind is to focus on the negative. Negative thoughts affect our feelings, our behaviors, and ultimately our relationships. To improve your life, it's in your best interest to really focus on combating those negative thoughts. So next time a negative thought or memory comes into your mind, combat it with something positive. Immediately, think of maybe a favorite scripture that encourages you, or perhaps a self-affirmation. In this way, we can improve how we think, feel, behave, and ultimately our lives. The second way to keep improving that brain, keep learning. As we've already seen, when you learn, you're building new neurons and new connections between neurons. And when you remember, you're strengthening those connections that you already do have, which keeps the mind engaged and healthy at any age. So here's a question. How are we already doing these things? The answer is Toastmasters, of course. Toastmasters is a great place to become conscious of how you're behaving in front of other people when you speak. And also, you get to learn new things. As you prepare for different speeches, you're learning new information. And when you come and hear people speak on different topics, you're again learning new things and keeping that mind healthy and engaged. more about neuroplasticity, I'd encourage you to check out Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's an expert on the topic, and I used him as a resource for a lot of what I've shared with you today. His website is full of videos and articles that you can check out and learn more. Just Google his name and you'll find a bunch of different things you can watch and read. Also, I have a couple of really good books that I actually found at the library by these two doctors that I have listed here. If you're really interested in learning how you can harness the power of your mind to lose weight or just improve your overall well-being, I'd encourage you to check these books out. I'll keep them out in case you're interested in looking at them after the meeting. In conclusion, today we've learned the basics of neuroplasticity and how it can help us improve our lives. As you learned this new information, your brain was engaged in the process of learning. New neurons and synapses were forming in your mind and sending out information to other neurons to expand a wide network called the neural network. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, life is lived between your ears. Keep learning and exercising that brain, and you will have a life well lived. Madam Toastmaster?
Good job, Patty. Wonderful. Let's have a minute on the clock.
Talk about neuroplasticity as if you speak about it all the time, as if this is what you talk about every day. There was no hesitation, there was no fear. As soon as you came up here, you owned the stage, and I really love that about your speeches. There are some things here in our evaluation guide that I want to make sure I hit on. So first it said, how well did the speaker's topic apply to the audience? It very obviously applied to all of us. We all have brains, I would hope, and so the growth of the brain, it definitely made sense for all of us. Was it well researched? It was extremely well researched. There was no doubt in my mind that you had prepared and practiced for the speech that you gave today. How well did the speaker support your main points? You talked about how we learn, you talked about how we grow the neurons and then the connections. Then you continued on into how we can enhance and improve our own brains and lives. Was it appropriate for the point made? Most definitely. Did the speaker vary the types of support material? You had definitions, you had summaries, you had pictures with descriptions, you had books, you had experts, you had websites, you had references. It was phenomenally well researched and you had a lot of support material. How clear was your purpose? Obviously, to teach us about neuroplasticity and how we can enhance our own lives and our own brains. Was it effectively organized? Very much so. You started with the definition, you moved into how it affects us, then you moved into how we can improve ourselves and gave us lots of support materials to go forward with. Did you take advantage of body language and vocal variety? I did notice that for the majority of the speech, you were over here behind the podium, but I feel like for the topic that you had, I wasn't expecting a lot of movement. I wasn't expecting a lot of walking over here and walking over there. When you were behind the podium, you did a little bit of the movement this way and a little bit of the movement this way, so I felt like for this specific project, you had fantastic body language and fantastic movement. Well, let's see, what did I like about the speech? I really liked your excitement. I didn't think that neuroplasticity would be a very exciting topic, but you came up, you were excited about it, you had, I liked when you gave the definition, and then you went blah, 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 and you made it so easy for us to understand. You made it easy to understand for your audience, because you realized we're not all scientists, we're very new to this topic, though it affects us, we haven't really paid much attention to it. And then the only thing I think you could have done differently for this speech would be to have a handout. You had so much information for us that I really enjoyed, but to be able to have that on a handout, to be able to reference all the sites and the doctors and everything, I think that would have really bolstered it. But all in all, you did a fantastic job and I really enjoyed it.